Shalom to the elect, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Shem Shai, by Shem HaKadosh, giving double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops of Great Millstone. Well, peace and salutation to the elect, the first fruits. Choicest part, starting with the prophets of the 144,000 count, election, and the rest of the remnant. Men, women, and children who are no prophets that are believers in the words of Yahweh, by Shem Shai, they're Hebrew Israelites. The Hebrew Israelites are so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And the scattered Israelite foreigners likened to the speckled bird, having different appearances and visages, but lineage go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which we try the spirit by the spirit. Of course, double honor to the elder apostles and elder bishops. If I haven't said that, Shemiah Maffa is a mopper from the GREATMILLSTONE Plaintables camp of Philadelphia, coming with another wee lesson. And this is I've been meditating on this heavy as of lately. You know, you got it here, the real ID. Right, what you have is a new TSA requirement. It goes in effect May 7th, right? And for years, we've been hearing about this real ID. You know, they pretty much already done drafted, you know, the law, the bill, and now we're going to see it come into full fruition. Okay? Now, first of all, you know, you have it, the real ID. Let me see something. Right? You had in 2005, you have it an act of Congress that establishes requirements that driver license and identification cards by United States in its territory must be accepted must satisfy to be accepted for accessing federal government facilities, nuclear power plants, boarding and for boarding airline flights in U.S. The requirements includes verification of personal information presented when applying for the identification document, security features on the document, and electronic sharing on database between states. The act also made modifications to U.S. immigration law regarding asylum, border security, and deportation. Okay? And you said, and this was apparently enacted in response of the event on, 9/11. The provisions regarding identification documents were originally intended to take effect in 2008, but enforcement was repeatedly delayed due to widespread opposition and refusal by many state governments to implement them. So, pretty much the can just been kicked down the road. All right. But now the can is no longer kicking. All right. You have eventually states began to comply in 2012, and enforcement based on issuing state or territory began from 2014 to 2018, depending on the facility. And after numerous extensions by 2020, all states were certified as compliant, and by 2024, all territories were certified. So they got this infrastructure and set up, okay. And as of 2025, the enforcement based on the identification documents was scheduled to be implemented in phases from May 7, 2025 to May 5th, 2027. So, you have it, the enforcement based on the identification documents was scheduled. Okay? So we'll see, what goes down. But they set these different laws, all right, up. Okay? And we know these different events only pushed for more laws to be passed. Now, this is going to do a lot on a lot of individuals within the United States, because he was able to just present a standard issue ID and travel domestically, you know, hey, I was even told you don't even have to, you know, show it, present it, you know, to a TSA, you know, but you know, now this is gonna be like it's gonna be a requirement as they're going into, but we're gonna see how it's gonna be enforced, and people are going crazy, scrambling over it. Now, you know, we'll play this, then I'll get some scriptures.
All right, take a look at this here. Does your license have one of these? That star there in the top right corner, that indicates it is a real ID. If you don't know what a real ID is, or you don't have one, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get on a plane come May 7th. Courtney Friedman explains.
So she's saying to make it harder.
Explains what these IDs are for and why you need one.
We're from Virginia. I'm traveling back to Washington, D.C.
Are you from San Antonio?
Yes. No matter where you're from, come May 7th, you'll need what's called a real ID to get on a plane.
This is part of secure flight and making sure that the traveler who is traveling and presents the ID is the same person.
So they're, again, pushing towards authenticating identity, okay? And as we do know, with these advancements within technology, they're making it harder and harder for an individual to fake or falsify whom they actually present themselves to be. Okay, your biometrics, hey, that's unique to you, all right? You know, you have the only DNA of yourself, all right? So, you know, you have it where a lot of course, people get their hands on a lot of counterfeit identification. Okay, this would move towards preventing that or making that less and less of a way to get around, you know, and get to travel. Okay, with this ID, because every time, like I've renewed my ID in general, because I don't have real ID. You have it that when I would renew, you know, driver license, they would be amazed at the you know, the different attendants servicing. They would show me like, oh, here, look at it, it's different, you know, and they have, you know, the different things they integrated within the identification, which make it harder for counterfeiters to be able to replicate that ID, right? And then remember, these things are set with databases too. These information, they're getting and collecting your biometrics, okay? So, you know, and you have to have certain, you know, just to be able to even qualify for these different things or items, you got to have certain documents, okay? So, you know, this man, we gonna go play this.
This is TSA spokesperson Patricia Mancha says the real ID design on each state's license is different. A lot of states.
So each state got a different design, okay? So some counterfeiter, oh look, man, we making real IDs, and then it's matching some other state. Oh no, look.
Like here in Texas, simply have a star in the upper right side.
And Virginia has that little clear picture too. Yeah. We have our picture in it and it's clear.
TSA started the rollout of the real IDs years ago, but the deadline has been pushed back a few times to allow people the time to get it done. But this May 7th deadline is actually sticking this time.
Do you know that the deadline is May 7th?
And it's not even that they gave it time to get it done. It's, you know, Esau does things in gradualism too, okay? And you had different, like I said, different opposition from different states too, and them setting, of course, also up the you know, the infrastructure for these different things. These things are digital, you know, and it's like a lot of the different you can't just go to like a lot of these different every single DMV to get these cards, okay? Or you think you go to your neighborhood, DMV. and get the card. No, you got to go to this other one. You know, it's depending on what state you're in. You know, you have it where they have the, you know, the actual technology or, you know, the equipment.
7?
Yes, I got mine like over a year ago.
So how long ago did you get it?
A year ago.
Most people did it by bringing a few extra documents to their normal license renewal.
Yeah, you got to bring all these documents, you know, which are going to identify you of being that person. But it's more than what would be for what you would standardly give if you were just trying to get a typical renewal for your license. Okay? And that's one reason for me personally why, you know, I didn't jump in with this, because, you know, some of them different documents, you could just get a U.S. passport, you know, and, you know, that'd be that. But some people may not qualify for that, for the U.S. passport in certain circumstances. Different stipulations, you know, could mess that up, you know. So, yeah.
If you don't have one yet, Mancha says make an appointment at your DMV now.
Most offices.
Then they want a appointment, okay? So a set time and all that for you to actually, for you to be seen, instead of you being a walk-in. So this is also posing a threat for many people too.
Require an appointment and a wait time. So it's not an immediate process where you're going to go, walk in, and be able to get your document that same day.
If you miss the deadline.
So they putting people in straits. And if you miss the deadline, you ain't going to be able to do certain things without having this ID. You won't have, because this is beyond just travel. This is entering different federal buildings. Okay?
Deadline and have to travel without a real ID, you'll have to use one of these instead: a passport, an enhanced driver's license, trusted traveler card, border crossing card.
Okay, so then they have an enhanced driver license. And see what these things carry. Okay? VA Health ID, and they got more listed, you know, because he only gonna show you so much. So actually, I believe you can use alternative forms to travel. You know, this would be domestically, but you have to have these things.
Permanent resident card, a veteran health ID card, or several others. But the bottom line is,
Get it.
It's a lot easier when you're going through the airports.
now here's some caveats. If you have a military ID, you're already fine. Same thing with
Of course, to get a military ID, you're being certified by the military government, the U.S. military government. They gonna have all your biometrics and everything, blood type, everything. So that's what we're moving towards. Authentication and digital representation of who you are in their system, okay? Body measured, okay? So you go about like trying to basically get around. And with this leaves a digital footprint of everywhere you're going as well, okay, too. That's what we're moving with.
a federally recognized indigenous tribe ID. As for minors, it is the same as it is now, just the adult they're traveling with has to have a real ID.
You know, so that's with that. Now we gonna look. I'm gonna look up with the real ID in Philly, just because that's where I'm at currently. Well, people been snapping on this stuff. I guess it ain't a big story right now, because most of these Philly people ain't really, I don't know. All right, so here we go.
With the rush for a real ID, time is running short now before the deadline on May 7th. After that, you can't fly domestically without a real ID unless you have a passport.
Chopper 6 was over long lines at the DMV in Norristown this afternoon. People waiting hours to get their real ID. Action News reporter Sharifa Jackson is live at the License Center in King of Prussia with what you need to know. Sharifa.
Well, Sarah, Brian, first you need to make sure that you came prepared, but mostly today you needed to have some patience. Hundreds of people showed up today. Everyone had the same idea as they came here to get their real ID. The line at this license center in King of Prussia Friday afternoon was well over an hour.
Then you gotta say what is real, true. They saying it's the true ID.
Our wait just to get into the building. From the time that you got here to now you walked out, how long did it take you?
4.5 hours.
It was crazy. It looked about the same in Norristown as people
Who got time to wait 4.5 hours for something you probably already have in your pocket, in your wallet, right? He's just making it more difficult, okay? And that's what he's gonna continue to do with Babylon the Great America. He's gonna make everything more difficult, all right? And we see that with who we got in office with DJ, DJ Trump, he's making things more and more straights for individuals here in America. All right, I'm just gonna bring this out. This Isaiah 19:4 says, "In the Egyptians, all right, you modern day Americans, since this is Sodom and Egypt, all right, this is the place of our captivity for the Israelites, all right, and you inhabitants that's here in America, hey, you liken unto Egyptians, okay, you citizens." It says, and the Egyptians will I give over into the hand of a cruel Lord, okay, and he is a cruel overseer, okay. You got Donald Trump. He don't even care about a lot of the different things like that most people generally have concern over. Most people care about having affordable health care. They care about having affordable food costs. They care about being able to fill their car with fuel to be able to travel about, go on holiday, and have decent living. But he is taking away a lot of these things and freedoms and liberties from the individuals. So you look at the word for cruel, and you have it quashah in the Hebrew, which quashah meaning being hard or difficult and even stubborn. All right, difficult. This dude's fierce. All right, just look how this dude goes, really embracing this American way, all right, to the rest of the nations. He definitely come with pomp and arrogancy, all right, which that embodies America, okay, proud and all right. Let me get this real quick. Stout. Look. All right, this is, I believe, that's day 7 and 20. It says, "And of the 10 horns that were in his heat, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell." This goes into the history, goes into with the European Union, the 10 horns and such, the ancient vessels, the common markets and such. It goes, into the history. Daniel goes into the histories a lot with of this kingdom. The new what is it? The legs, the feet, all right, of iron. Okay, and this goes into the history with the the French, the Spanish, the British and such. And it goes all into that. Okay, American history is here in the scriptures, that even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows, and that's America. Okay, America, and you you have it. Stout is Rob, meaning much or many, but great, chief. Okay, in America is chief in this new rebirth of the Roman Empire. Okay, so you have it with the people. They on a real ID rush. Trump, he making things harder in the midst of that. Okay, that's more fees and documents you have to get than a standard ID fee. Okay, because all of the technology that's involved with it. You know, you could probably ask, what type of technology does the real ID have? Okay, it says that the real ID, what kind of tracking chip technology does the real ID have? The real ID have advanced technology embedded within them that allows for tracking of individuals if you hold real ID up to a light. Okay, definitely have RFID capabilities within it. The national ID cards have RFID chips that show biometrics, but it seems like the chips on EDLs and American passports cards, I assume, also do the same. Okay, has a memory chip on there, and I will have to look more into it on my own and bring it back out. But most of these people, they probably don't know. They just go in there to get a card that somebody told them. But E at the same time is pushing towards his NWO and RFID technology, authenticating your identity. Ultimately, him changing the system and making it that you have to have a certain device within you physically. Okay, size of a grain of rice and such, as the scriptures do speak about. That's his end game. Him setting forth the MOTB, all right, the C-HIP, okay, and that would be the end game, because hey, that's who you actually are, okay, in his world, okay, his world. He tells you who you are, and he issues your identity and certifies you for who you are, and that's outside of the Most High for E.
Waited hours to apply for a real ID.
I wish I brought my AirPods, but I mean, it's nice out, so it's not too bad.
For Brady Pyers, even with the deadline weeks away, he says he couldn't wait.
I had to get it because when I go back after finals week, it'd be like past the deadline to fly, so I have to get it now before I go back to school.
I figured I'd get mine at the same time.
Starting May 7th, to fly within the U.S. or enter certain federal facilities, anyone 18 or older will need a real ID, compliance driver's license, or photo ID card, a valid passport, global entry card, or military ID. Officials warn, even if you think you won't need a real ID, it's good to get it just in case, but you'll need the proper documentation. In Pennsylvania, that means one proof of identity and legal status in the U.S., one proof of your social security number, and two proofs of your current address.
So within Pennsylvania, but the different requirements are state to state. Okay, right here in PA, they got it, proof identity, you know, Social Security proof of that number, two proofs of current addresses and stuff like that, you know, utility bills, things of that sort, certain government issued stuff onto you. Okay, but I know in other states you have it, like in Jersey, they got 6 requirements for real ID. Okay, what does injury require for real ID? Okay, dude, look at this. Look at this. 2 plus 1 plus 6 equal real ID. Okay. I thought 2 plus 1 is 3, but but hey, let me see how they break this down. So apparently in New Jersey, you have to have certified copies of NJ records, which they're available due to municipality that originally issued them from the official or the Office of Vital Statistics and Registry. If you need a Social Security replacement, you can get with the Social Security Administration. If applicant birth certificate is from Jersey, they can hit up, of course, the state of New Jersey and go to the county records office, right? You have it with the step 1 is 2 proofs of residence, right? Original, unexpired rental agreement. That means they ain't dealing with copies. You gotta have original. Okay. Tax bill. First class mail from a government agency in the past 6 months. Okay, you can look at all these different things. Then too, you gotta prove of your full Social Security number. W-2, Social Security card, or pay stub, or 1099. Then you got 6. So 6, let's see, 6 points combined from the primary and second required. So you got to have, one of these primaries, which is an unexpired U.S. passport or passport card, which if I have a real ID, why would I get if I have a passport, why would I get a real ID? It trumps it. That's just my opinion. Because it's like, look at all, you have it, real ID, some of the things they're requiring are either equal or to more than what a person would, if they would get a passport, have to get, right? U.S. territory birth certificate or certified file copy, right? So you got to select one of these. U.S. Department State of Birth Certificate, or a U.S. Government State Consular Report, or a certificate of naturalization, or certificate of citizenship, or a current permanent resident card, like a green card, I think, right? By the U.S. What's it? That look like immigration. You can check abbreviation. Unexpired foreign passport, current photo employment authorization card. So you got to get 2 of these, then, or 1 of these, pardon me, and then you got to get a secondary, which is you cannot use more than 2 1-point documents. So they got more things. Unexpired standard photo from New Jersey or any state or U.S. territory. Current employment identification with pay stub. This is crazy. But we know that number 6 is Esau's number. All right. So, you could look into it. But this man won a lot of official documents. All right. Official documents to verify who you are. Okay, so the scriptures tell you, I'm going to leave off with a couple scriptures. I think it's 2:11. This is 2 Corinthians 2:11. Least Satan, which Satan is the enemy adversary, that's Esau, Edom. All right, the physical counterpart for the spiritual demon Satan should get an advantage over us. They get the one over us, right? For we are not ignorant of his devices, his plots and plans. We know at the end of the day, this man wanted to put you in the straits and make it more difficult for you to operate. He wants you in his total control and submission, and obviously under his system, coming with the end game, which is that MOTB. Okay, they'll just have the technology that has, RFID technology within it, but it's not within your body. So using this is not taking the C-hip, okay? Scriptures talk about using the world, not abusing it, all right? So, we know we got to operate in Babylon. You might need a real ID to do different things, a passport, different documents, social security card, these different documents and stuff. But this set a lot of people in straits because you got a lot of Jake, here illegally, are legally, but having these different documents and such in your possession and going to try to acquire these documents may be a process in its own that may take you just a process long in time and troubles, right? And then on top of that, you just trying to do that just to obtain this piece of identification, just to be able to jump on a vehicle such as a plane or enter a building, because I was thinking, I'm like, well, some of these different buildings are federal buildings. Like I think about the post office, which is independent. It's actually independent. All right. The United Postal Service is actually independent. A United States independent agency, right? And then you have Trump is expected to take control of the United States Postal Service. Okay, he fired the board. They said postal board officials say. So, oh, well, you don't have the C-hip, you can't enter into that building. Well, first we'll start with getting you to get this real ID first. But remember, the C-hip can come at any time. And I feel like it's not, coincidental that, hey, May the 7th, you have it, they're going to be pushing for it. Okay? But again, like I said, even in their wording, the enforcement of it, okay, that's what, because you have things could be law, but then are they enforced? We will see how that play out, because this can make rile up a lot of people, okay? So, that's it through the spirit for now. Shalom to the elect. To the next lesson.